We can all admit that as a mom, whether you're new or experienced one or multiple children, that you have felt overwhelmed in your motherhood at some point in time. That's just a fact. But have you ever thought about why this is happening, why you may feel so overwhelmed, and maybe it's not actually your fault? In this video, I'm going to explore why we are feeling so overwhelmed and frazzled as moms, and how you can start to make those mind shift changes so that 2021 can be your year of motherhood that is meaningful and mindful and no longer miserable. Hello everyone, if you're new here, my name is Julie. I'm an occupational therapist, and you'll see a lot of that occupational therapy hat coming into this as we discuss this topic of feeling overwhelmed as a modern day mother. I'm also a mom of 2 little ones, and I'm pregnant with my 3rd one. So let's just say I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed, but I've definitely found some tips and tricks along the way that I want to share with you in this video or in another video. So make sure that you keep watching, subscribe to my channel, give this video a big thumbs up if you like videos about self-development, specifically with regards to parenting and motherhood in the modern day society that we find ourselves in a minimal and simple way. This is really my mission in life. I'm passionate about not making motherhood miserable, because we've all been there and there's no need. Make sure to check out all the resources in the description box down below. I have a free mini course, which is 5 videos to help kickstart your journey of taking back control of your life, whether you're not a mom, whether you're an expecting mom, whether you're a mom of multiple children, or especially going from one kid to another one and life is going to get chaotic. Make sure you download that mini course so that you can go through the videos super quick and easy with printouts and all kinds of things to help you start to take back control, organize your life, challenge your mindsets a little bit, and see how you can make your motherhood meaningful and mindful. Because remember, ain't nobody got time for miserable motherhood over here. And if you need more support, check out my program, which is the Organized Mom, which has a lot more support and detail. We talk about all these kinds of topics that I cover in my videos, but in much more depth, so make sure you check it out. Have you ever thought about how we kind of evolved as mothers? You know, back in the day, I'm talking like way back in the day, like the 1800s, we kind of had this one purpose as women, and I'm heavily oversimplifying, but just roll with me here. Basically, your role as a woman was to create a home, you know, get married, create a home for your husband, and pump out as many kids as you could. Whilst it was incredibly frustrating, unequal, unfair that women really didn't pursue even secondary education, never mind college and tertiary education opportunities, they really had one focus and one purpose. And the advantage of that is that it was one purpose, right? It wasn't that you had to put on so many different hats, deal with going to work, deal with coming home and kids, all that kind of stuff. Fast forward to feminism, which actually started initially in the United States in the 1800s, late 1800s, but really became popular in the way that we understand it in modern culture in sort of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and women were kind of expected to do it all, right? They kind of had to pretend that they didn't have children. They would go back to work very soon after giving birth. Formula was super popular, and no pun intended, but this was like pumped out to mainstream media, where formula was the preferred way to feed a child, which eliminated the need for breastfeeding and thus staying with your child as the mom. And you know, you could go back to work because you were equal to your male counterpart. So it becomes kind of easy once we understand this as to why we're feeling so overwhelmed as we sit here in currently 2021. Because in my experience as a mom, you're kind of expected to do it all. Now, obviously, I'm saying this with some disclaimers. I'm not judging anyone who chooses either to go back to work full time and have other caregivers look after their children. There's definitely some great value in that. I'm also not judging the mom that decides not to have a career or feels like they can't have a career and decides to stay with their children and be the primary caregivers for their children. Those are 2 extremes, you know, either staying at home and primarily focusing on your child, or immersing yourself in your career and working, traveling, doing everything that you would as a non parenting person. It's easy to see why it's just so much, right? Because that career woman is now wanting to climb the ladder, wanting to prove that she's just as good as those people in her organization that do not have children. But you get this mom that wants to, do it all, but then still has to come home and fulfill the roles and occupations, which is anything that a mother would do in day-to-day life. Planning the birthday parties, preparing for school, finding schools for kids, packing lunches, doing laundry, doing housework, making sure you're sending out holiday cards, whatever it is. Plus, she needs to, look good, she needs to dress nicely, she needs to stay fit and healthy. It's just too much. It becomes really easy to understand why we are feeling frazzled and overwhelmed as modern day mothers. You take the stay-at-home mom, which is an interesting dynamic because in some ways, the perception is, oh, well, you're a stay-at-home mom, like life is pretty good for you, What about the financial pressure of deciding to stay home? There's a huge loss in income potential. In my mind, the stay-at-home mom is now burdened with everything because they're the one that's focusing on the children. And the thing about children, in case you didn't know, it's a full-time 24/7 job versus an 8 to 5, which you hope will end at some point. And you're dealing with adults that hopefully will look after themselves, be able to take themselves to the bathroom, be able to wash themselves, and be able to go to bed by themselves. As the employee or employer, you're not dealing with that. But as the mom, you have all of that. Your job never really stops. So the stay-at-home mom has her own struggles. And I think the difficulty with that is that often we perceive that the stay-at-home mom, she doesn't need the support because, all she has to do is look after her child or children. But they need the respite, they need the stimulation, they need the understanding, and they need the non-judgment from us more than ever. You have these two extremes of women. You have the stay-at-home mom and you have the career mom who are just struggling in so many ways and who really need our support and our help. One of the things that I look at as an occupational therapist is when we consider a whole person and we look at them very holistically, where are they having trouble with their role fulfillment or occupations? And I define occupation an activity or task that you do, often something that is meaningful to you, but also something that is just necessary. So the working mom, for example, her occupations are, yes, to go to work, but also she needs to take care of herself. She needs to take care of her children. Perhaps she needs to do the occupation of, working out or going to bed early, sleeping. There's all these different things. And then she has the roles of being a mother, a wife, a friend, a sister, an employee or an employer. It's just not so simple and clear cut. And this is where a lot of dysfunction comes in, because I don't think someone who hasn't had children yet and hasn't really considered it fully understands when they become a mother how life-changing that is in both good and bad ways. You're just giving up certain things to gain other things. And if you don't have good balance in your life, if you don't have a good support structure, you lose yourself. And I've seen this happen with my clients in both scenarios. The stay-at-home mom losing herself because she is so immersed in her children and they are the ones giving her the self-worth that she craves, because she has no me time. She has no personal time. She is not sleeping enough. She's not putting herself first and maybe exercising. She's not making the best food choices because she's doing whatever she can to just kind of survive, especially in those early years. And then the working mom who is just feeling so frazzled. I know for me, as a working mom who worked full-time, guilt was just out of this world crazy because, I've been programmed that a mother stays home with their children. And if I'm not doing that, there's a disconnect in that. Maybe you don't have that as a working mom, but you have the utter exhaustion and that feeling of never really getting it all done. Coming home at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and having to make dinner, having to connect with your children. Heaven forbid you might want to play with them, do a puzzle, or just kind of read a book, but you're so tired because you have drained everything from yourself for your job or just to kind of keep yourself alive, and there's nothing left to give to your children. So these are things that I'm really passionate about exploring because I think we need to talk about them more. I have a free mini course that you can download right down below. It goes into more depth about these kind of concepts and how you can start to to skyrocket your success with managing and organizing your life. Not just from a, keeping your kitchen tidy vibe, which I'm all about, people. I mean, if you've been on my channel, you know that I love the clutter-free life, but I also have the Organized Mom program, which goes into a lot of depth and detail about this concept of a modern day mother, the kind of subconscious programming that we have been subjected to as young girls, kind of trained to be mothers, but then expected to be professionals and then expected to be rock star mothers. Never mind the impact of social media and the fact that you can just judge people, compare yourself to people, look at their highlights reel, feel like you're not good enough any second of any day. I mean, we're dealing with a lot, and I want you to know that there is a good reason why you feel overwhelmed, and there are steps that you can take to start to feel more in control of your life, which is what I teach in my programs. So make sure you check out that link down below. I hope you guys will stick around. Make sure that you subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, notifications turned on, check out all my free resources, and if you're feeling overwhelmed and frazzled as a mom, please know that you're not alone. I've been there, we've all been there, and there are ways and actionable steps that you can start to take to feel more in control of your life. First one being to give yourself a break. Realize that you have a lot on your plate, that we are expected like never before to be rock stars in absolutely everything that we do, and it's just not sustainable. Something's got to give. So I hope you stick around, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.